We're here today with the lovely Jane and Danielle from our Land and New Homes team to talk about all things new builds. So, talking about new homes, Jane, how glamorous is your role as new homes advisor?
Well, that is something that is perceived that it is a glamorous role. And if I had £1 for every time somebody came in and asked me that, I wouldn't be still working. It looks glamorous and you try and be glamorous in front of your clients, but there's a lot of background to the role. Out on a windy, wet, horrible, miserable day, doing meter readings, in dirty plots that you need to give them a quick clean around before the clients come in. No heating on, no electric, it's cold. Out on site with your welly boots on and your hard hat. So, no, it's not all glamour.
Just how you just look glamorous.
Yeah, and we don't just sit in the office and smile and sell houses. There's more to shiny shoes and smiles, I think.
What's the best part of it then?
The best
Following someone's journey, I think. Like a first-time buyer
Yeah.
was super excited to have their first home and set up their family together.
Yeah, nice.
Or a downsizer who's got quite a big house and they want less maintenance and they're super excited to just get the key and move straight in.
Yeah, nice. And I bet when they choose all their stuff as well, that's nice.
I was going to say that's a nice part, putting it all together and having ideas for that's lovely. And also all the different designs that we come across, and some of our developers let us tweak them a little bit, so if we don't think they're going to work.
Yeah, getting involved
good.
in the process. So some of the smaller developers will show us obviously their floor plans and things before they've kind of gone to planning, and we tweak certain things, don't we?
That's good, isn't
add
it?
doors,
and I suppose
change.
your experience kind of knows what people are after, so that's only benefits them as well.
I
And
think
that
people
changes.
forget that as well, don't they? They don't just pay us to sell the house, they're also paying us for our experience. And because we deal with so many different developers, we've seen so many different house types and designs that we would recommend, equally designs that we struggled to sell, so we would say we wouldn't advise you to do that again. There's quite a few enjoyable. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some obviously non-enjoyable.
Yeah, I bet.
But on the whole, it is.
Yeah.
And I guess when people are choosing their kitchens and stuff like that, do they ask for your opinion?
Yeah.
That's nice, isn't it?
All the time.
Someone making rogue choices and you're like, oh God.
Well, we can sometimes step in, don't we? If somebody hasn't got to exchange as well, from a developer's point of view, and they're picking something quite wild, like a bright blue kitchen.
We can steer them.
Yeah, although actually blue is apparently in now.
Dark blue.
Yeah.
Or
But there's always that one colour that you think, that's a bit risky. Or sometimes they do put together some strange worktops with some colour choices.
I think, do you know what? I think with kitchens, it's I do like the bright colours, but it's how quick they age, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when you're in a new build and you're covered for 10 years, you don't want to be redoing kitchens after 5 years.
No.
You want 10 years out of a kitchen, don't you? And I think that's the only thing with the bolder colours, as lovely as they are likely to age way quicker than something more
bathrooms
neutral,
and kitchens age very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't realise that. I think they're starting to now, because what you find is that if people have a new property, they tend to then want another new one.
Yes.
They will stick.
Yeah.
And if you're working in one large location, you'll see the same people. You'll see them moving around. Yeah, you'll come across it.
They'll upsize and then, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite nice. And how long have you been doing it, Jane?
Quite a long time.
So you obviously really like it then.
I was YTS. No, I wasn't. Over 30 years.
So you do enjoy it?
Yeah, very
much. You don't keep
so.
going for 30 years if you don't.
No, yeah.
So where did you start? Who did you work for first?
I worked for King, was it? Yeah. No, Peter Long and Partners.
And then...
In Old Town.
Yeah.
And they were selling McLean homes.
Whereabouts?
In Womburgh.
Ah, wow. So all the ones by the school, basically, that is?
Yeah.
Stanley Close.
Yeah. So they
My
took
goodness.
me on as a trainee with another lady out at Rushy Platt.
Yeah.
And we were out there from the Renault building, right the way along. There was just a single track to
Oh my gosh.
the McLean's site. And we were out there on our own in a cabin, no electric, no
Days when
water,
we worked in cabins.
and no one could find us to sell anything to anyway, but we did. And I was there about 2 months, and then Wombra came up, and then I went across to Wombra. Yeah.
Nice. I bet they sold well, didn't they?
Everything
time.
sold well then. You had a
Yeah.
waiting list. There wasn't the competition that you have now.
No.
You literally did have a waiting list of people that were wanting to buy.
Yeah.
It was so different. Yeah.
And what about you, Dan? How long?
I've been in new homes probably 7-8 years, I think.
Where did you start? Or who with?
With Redrow Homes.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And then my first site was at South Cerney,
Yeah, nice.
just around the lake. So to be fair, quite a nice site
Yeah.
to start with. But then the market kind of went a bit difficult. So it was, in all fairness, it was a good way to like learn the role, considering it was the first time I'd ever been involved in it, to actually, like Jane was saying, there's times where you don't really need to sell a house. The house kind of sells itself.
Yeah.
And then there's markets where you've definitely got to put like your all in, like know all your USPs, like know your spec inside and out, know all your like competitors, like Jane was saying, why you're better than them, why they should buy with you. So I think in terms of like learning to be a sales advisor, although it wasn't the best time in terms of the easiest time, I think it's definitely helped me with like knowledge and how important understanding how a property is built as well. So I think people kind of have a perception that we literally just sell the house and that's it. Yeah.
And they're chucked up.
Yeah, and just
like
explaining
Lego.
to them, like understanding the build. So when issues arise, like with site and stuff, you get why the house is delayed and what those implications are. So you can explain that properly to a customer, and then they kind of appreciate what you're saying rather than taking the full delay. They understand. Whereas if you don't understand the build and you're just phoning somebody, if I phone you and say, sorry, Jess, you know, your family home's going to be
Delayed.
6 months later, and that's all
I'm
I
just gonna
tell
be cross,
you.
aren't I? Yeah, with no like background info.
Yeah. So that I think that's where I kind of had a good learning
So did
curve.
you come straight here from Redrow?
So I was at Redrow for probably 5.5, 6 years on different developments. I sold at Badbury Park as well, and then Abbey Farm, I started that site. So as soon as that launched, I started that and almost finished that site, but I did go on maternity leave towards the end of that one. And then went on maternity leave, had Vienna, had nearly a year off, I think it was in total. And then
Very nice.
came back to Richard James then, obviously where we work with a number of developers, so definitely different, but obviously experience used the same nevertheless. Yeah.
And at the moment, let's just like have a little brief on the sites that you guys are working on at the moment. So obviously there's Backhouse in Blunsdon.
Yeah.
Which were the other ones that you...
So we've got HSBC, the Forum, so that's 18
They look
apartments.
super cool, they do.
They're lovely, yeah.
Beautiful.
Their specs definitely up there with the best we've seen. And considering their kind of renovation as well, they're really energy efficient. They've still got all the really good pros of like a new build. Like I said, specs obviously up there, and they're really nice size as well. So
they're
people
massive,
also
aren't
have
they,
a
for
perception
apartments?
about them being small. Like,
Yeah.
don't buy a new build because they're small. But that site's not that. They are huge.
And
for
they've got
two beds.
roof garden.
Yeah,
How
it's got
nice
a
is
roof garden
that?
and a lift as
And
well.
beautiful views across the old town.
Yeah,
Lovely.
that's
And out to
stunning.
the hills. Yeah.
So that's going to be a real nice development for us, for apartment wise. Obviously, Backhouse, which you mentioned, Hills, we've literally just completed on our last one.
At the
so that
Paddocks.
in Blunsdon.
Amazing.
So that's literally just been tied up now. We've got the 5 big ones in Brinkworth, so we just did an open day for that last weekend, and we've got 1, if not 2 of those reserved out of the 5 already. So that's good news. They've got amazing views as well.
Yeah, Brinkworth's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's nice to have homes in a village as well, isn't it? We're quite used to obviously having them
Old
that way now
town,
anyway,
yeah.
but kind of more central. So it's nice that we've got 5 big detached ones there.
And we've got Ashford Homes
Ashford,
in
yeah.
Wroughton, which
Yeah.
we've just got
Clevedon
3 there.
Homes.
Yeah.
3 remaining there out of 10, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and that one's coming to an end as well. They're literally just finishing all the top tarmac of the main road, a couple of gardens, and then plot 10's the last one there, not it? So that's almost
Is that
complete.
the show home, Doctor?
Plot 1 is the show
Show.
home.
Yeah. What else have we got? Why have I gone blank? We have also got
New
the
Dawn.
2. We've got New Dawn Homes, so they're over in Stratton. We've got 5 there. We did have 6, but we sold one. Jane reserved that one yesterday, so there's
Good
only
start.
5 there now. We had the 2 big ones in Blunsdon.
Yeah, they're lovely.
They were lovely. Their spec was
They're all
ridiculous.
lovely, actually, aren't they?
Yeah.
In all fairness, we've said that, haven't we? Like,
Yeah.
all the developers are now making, I think, like you said, because of the competition being higher, I think
There's a
that's
bit more
also
effort.
up in the
Yeah,
game.
definitely. And I think even like where Backhouse is, like even the views, like the setting there is really
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And I think people don't know that, do they, until they get in, because it is all tree lined, which is beautiful when you live there, but I think it's kind of hidden. It's
Yeah.
not until you actually drive in,
yeah, it's
you see
lush.
how much you like overlook upstairs in a lot of
Really
them.
nice.
And that's what happens with some of the developments. We can see how they're going to evolve, and some of the clients, when they first come, they struggle with that, and then once you've got through so much of the site built, they understand
visualise
and they
it.
can visualize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is hard. You know, when
Yes.
they have like the models of the estate. I remember when we were
Yeah.
buying our house, she was like, "Oh, so your house will be here, and then the shops will be here," and I'm like looking down, not thinking. I wouldn't even know how to get there right now. But then
that's the
when
thing,
they
and not
start putting
everyone
it up,
have that either.
Yeah.
So like, even if we get one of those models,
You're
we're
buzzing.
ecstatic. We're
Yeah.
like, brilliant.
Yeah.
This is going to help. Because like you said, some people will come in, they'll know exactly what they want, they'll know exactly roughly where they want to be, and then you'll get people who can't visualise it at all. And sometimes they work in your favour, those models, and sometimes they work against you, because like you can see who's got the bigger gardens, who's got
Yeah.
the more open space, who's
Yeah.
got the best garage,
who's
and
most
parking.
overlooked,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
whereas on
yeah.
a resale, you wouldn't like do a recce of your street and go, well, they've got free parking
No,
space.
no, you wouldn't.
Their
No,
garden's
that's so
2
true,
metre bigger
actually.
than ours.
Yeah, that's
It-
so true.
Yeah. And so that's why you try and concentrate on your part of the model that you're actually selling at that time, because otherwise people will just come
Go,
in and try
yeah,
and cherry pick
astray.
all round, and you can't sell like that.
No, you
So
can't. No.
It is difficult.
And I think also people are like prepared to compromise when you can see them like even half
built.
built.
Yeah.
Because you're right, from those models, I didn't think of it like that, to be fair. But yeah, if someone is like, there's 2 houses next to each other, one's got a bigger garden.
Yeah.
They're
You feel
gonna be
disheartened
like,
before you've even bought. And
But
it's
then
like,
if
but
you
your house
drive
is
past
lovely.
and you see that yours has a slightly bigger driveway, or
That's
like
it.
the frontage
Yeah.
is nicer,
Yeah.
then you're not going to care about the garden.
No, it just depends on what's their preferred
Yeah.
thing. That,
And like you're saying,
yeah.
like the views at Backhouse, you can't show them on a plan.
No.
You physically got to be on the top floor
Yeah.
to be able to say,
To
this is your
appreciate
view
it.
in your master bedroom. You know, nothing is going to obstruct that. You can't show that on a flat 2D plan, or even on like a
And
model.
Backhouse have been like really clever about their windows and stuff, because their
Yeah.
windows are massive in there, aren't they? They're
Yeah.
lovely.
And their ceiling heights are higher than normal as well. So,
So
like,
you
as
can,
soon
like-
as you walk in, you get like
Yeah.
extra
They're very
space,
light.
yeah.
The
They are
properties
so
are very
light.
light. Yeah, and that's what people like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their spec's amazing as well, to be fair. Like,
Yeah.
although we're saying all developers are kind of up in their game, I do think their standard spec is a very good one.
Yes, it's high.
And they've got a lot of choices as well, haven't they? Which sometimes is a good thing, sometimes not.
you
'cause
can't
it takes
ever
them hours.
decide. Yeah.
But it's nice that they do that, whereas a lot of developers will kind of have like 6 of each option.
Yeah.
They've got probably 26 of
I
each
remember with
option.
ours, someone had pulled out of it, so we then bought it,
Yeah,
but they'd already chosen the kitchen and stuff.
Yeah.
And luckily,
you liked it anyway.
actually, they'd chosen some bizarre worktops for the colour of the kitchen. There was nothing wrong with the worktops.
Yeah.
It's just personally
It
we wouldn't
didn't
have chosen
match.
them with the kitchen. They did let us change those, to be fair. They
Yeah.
were really good. But I was kind of glad that was, because a modern kitchen is a modern kitchen. There's none
Yeah.
that are that awful,
bad.
really.
It's when you
Most
have
of
like a
them are
wood grain
nice.
finish, though, isn't it? And then it's like then you have like a wood or some kind of colour.
All
That's
that
when it
happened
gets
was
a bit
there was a bit of a
tricky.
clash with the kitchen and the worktop, which
Right.
luckily they
Yeah.
let us fix.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the kitchen was
But
just
that
a
just
nice,
goes
neutral,
to
modern
show, like,
kitchen.
one of the main points of a new build that people love is picking their own
Yeah.
choices. And you had that obviously taken away from you, but you still...
managed to
Yeah.
sway it a little bit. Yeah, they were good.
When that happens, you normally find, apart from the hiccup with your worktop, you normally find that people would choose what's been
you
chosen anyway.
Yeah.
So you normally have all these options, and you'll find that
There's
the
like top
majority of
three,
the
isn't
site
there?
go for
Yeah.
the main three that
Yeah,
are
definitely
safe
on
and
Badbury Park. There's a lot of I think it's the kitchen that you had, Dan.
The like light grey,
light
like
grey,
shaker.
yeah.
That's what I mean. Though. Like there is like almost 3, isn't there, on every side?
Yeah.
That we're like they're the safe bets. Like they're the ones that most people pick. And then if a house doesn't sell or like falls through, and we have to select, they're kind of the selections we choose from as well because they are the safe bets.
the ones that are going to please people the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of people, unless you're a first time buyer, really, but other than that, a lot of people stay there. What, minimum maybe 5 years?
Yeah, I'd say.
So that's quite a long time to live with a kitchen, like you said, if you have something quite wild that you don't really like.
Yeah, they just it's funny, isn't it? Even grey has kind of aged.
Yeah.
It's seen
Yeah,
its
already.
day,
Yeah.
hasn't it? That's
it's
not
gone back to
much-
neutrals now.
Yeah, there's more like nudes and beiges now.
Yeah, I
rather
think
than
I
the
picked like a
stone.
greeny kind of like a sagey. I don't even know how to
Yeah.
explain what colour it is this time round, but mainly because I didn't want it to look like my last house. But secondly, it was just a bit warmer.
Yeah.
I did find like after a while, like it does depend on what you put with it, but it can be a bit cold.
Yeah, definitely. And how has the role changed over the years? So, like, from when you were selling McLean and Womber Jane to now, like, what's different? Apart from, obviously, you mentioned the competition. You can talk a bit about that. If you like.
Marketing has definitely changed.
Yeah.
So we would have a scrap of paper and even a fax machine where you would print out
Gosh.
just house types.
Yeah.
And also, I would say information, like with misdescriptions.
Yeah.
That's changed because back then you would, have limited details, and those details could change, and of course that would cause problems. So the information, the upfront marketing and information has definitely changed.
Yeah. It's
And
quite advanced now, really,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You think like LinkedIn's been around for such a long time, but you think like now, a lot of developers, they're kind of posting like daily, like the big
Yeah.
ones as well, or even like the medium-sized builders that just want to be known. Like they are posting about something, even if it's not house related, they're still like getting something out there,
Yeah.
or Pride Week or Home of the Week, or I don't even awards that are going on.
Yeah.
Like they are just like what was the one about the women in work? Like there's so many different things that they just need to
Want
get
their name out there.
get their
Yeah.
brand out, as well as like videography of their developments, like photographs, like reels are obviously a
Yeah,
massive
drone
thing.
footage and stuff
Yeah.
now.
And CGI's.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
they've come along so much.
Yeah.
As well. I remember
Yeah,
CGIs
they have
even
co-
from like 6 years
Yeah,
ago.
so do I. And I remember, but there was some, I don't know what it was. There was a couple of houses that were built in Wroughton like 7-8 years ago, maybe, and we were dealing with them. Might have been Chiseldon. Yeah, it might have been Manor Rise at Chiseldon. Do you know what
Yeah.
that is? And even like the CGIs that were done of the new build, the show home there,
Yeah.
in comparison to now, are
Yeah.
so
I do
different.
think like CGIs now are a real good representative, aren't
Yeah,
they,
they
of
are.
what the house is actually going to look like, and materials more than anything.
That's a big thing.
it's like
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
Because I think if we haven't started a site and we're saying, oh, your house is going to be cladded, and then everyone's straight away all rendered or anything that's not brick or stone.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if we've got a CGI, we can be like, don't
This is what it'll
panic.
look like. Yeah, it will be
look
nice.
like this. It will
Yeah.
be lovely. And even like building materials has moved along. Like you think of even like cladding now, it used to obviously be wood. Like
Yeah.
nowadays,
And
it's-
render has
yeah.
moved on.
You
Yeah.
can literally just jet that down now, whereas
Yeah.
before you used to
Yeah.
paint your entire house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's like the K-Ren that's like weatherproof and stuff,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's much, and people forget that when they're thinking, oh, they're thrown up. They forget that the materials and things are the the whole way of build is so different now. It is totally
Yeah.
different.
And actually, it's so
They're
much more expensive.
But yes,
to
but they're
do.
much more energy efficient.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
makes a massive difference once
Yeah.
people have moved in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back house have the electric vehicle chargers.
Then you've got air source heat pumps. So we've got like, well, to be fair, a lot of the developers now, like any planning, you have
use
to
air
have them
source.
now. But Clevedon Gardens kind of were ahead of that, wasn't they?
Yeah.
Hayfield use them quite a lot now. Who else has had them? that we
Pars have got them up at Brinkworth.
our Brinkworth ones.
Yeah.
So they obviously save like I think it's 30%.
Yeah,
Of your energy bills, which you think they're gone a bit crazy now anyway.
Yeah.
So if somebody said to you, you can save 30% of that. What else they do? The electric car chargers. A lot of them obviously going that way
Yeah,
now.
it's good to have them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if it's there when you buy it,
It's a
you haven't
selling
got to
point as
worry
well
about it.
later
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Because there
And,
was a
like,
grant for
extra
those,
insulation.
wasn't there, when you bought electric cars a year or so ago?
Oh, was there?
There was a grant that the government would put them in, and that's not.
Okay.
I don't think that's a thing. So to have them in a
Yeah.
house once it's been built is really
Anyway. But yeah, to be honest, I mean, you can tell the difference, can't you, when you go into a new build, like how much it retains like heat.
good. Yeah.
I think they've put like, I can't remember what the exacts are, but like I think there's extra insulation in like lofts now, extra insulation in floors. So to be honest, even another 2 years from now,
They're still going to be
they're gonna
up to speed.
Yeah.
Those regs change a lot.
Yeah.
They change on a
Yearly
yearly,
basis.
annually. Yeah, always. Yeah, with the electrical and the insulation and lots of things like that.
So they are always improving, which is nice. So
Yeah,
they
it
are
is. Yeah,
kind
that's a
of
huge selling
always
point now,
forward.
isn't it? 'Cause it is so
I
expensive.
think so.
to run
Energy
home.
bills are ridiculous, aren't they, at the moment? And like the electric cars, I mean, obviously they're fantastic to have, but equally they cost a lot of money
Yeah.
to have in the first place. So to have a point already in and to
Yeah,
save
that's
money
amazing.
that way,
And
it's
because they're
nice.
like up and coming, there's not that many. There's almost not enough electric vehicle charging points around publicly yet.
That's right, yeah.
Obviously, there will be over time, but even still now. So if you've got one at home,
happy days.
it's a great place to start. Yeah, and even for people that are visiting, it just makes it so much easier, doesn't it?
And they do like tariffs, don't they? Like cheaper night
Yeah.
time when your car's just sat there. At least you know them for like the next couple of days, or
What's
depending
gonna
how many
be-
miles you drive to work, you're gonna be okay.
And how's the spec and design changed, apart from obviously the fact that everything's a little bit more cost effective and efficient now? But like, let's go back to the materials. Let's talk sort of kitchens and bathrooms, carpets.
It's all moved along, hasn't it? Like, remember when everybody would charge extra for a silestone worktop? And like we were saying, wasn't we? Like when you're buying a 4-5+ bed chunky house, you don't want to then be spending on
No,
top
extra.
5-6+ thousand for a silestone worktop. And I think a lot of developers were just given them as incentives anyway.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have now, like large 3 beds and upwards,
They've
include
got them.
them as standard.
I've noticed that bifold doors seem to be more like I remember a
Yeah.
few years ago they were always extra.
Yeah.
They seem to be more of a standard thing now.
I think
Yeah.
it's as things like that come onto the market, they're like anything else, they're expensive. So there is a premium, a cost,
Yeah.
And now they're more affordable for the developers, so therefore they can start including it.
Yeah.
I remember a company called Wilcon Homes. And that was one of the companies that I worked for back when I first started. And it was literally, you bought the shell and you had to put a lot of the finish in yourself.
Oh my
When we say, are we
gosh.
talking doors, floors?
Tiling,
Gosh.
appliances. Yeah, it was.
that's
it was
crazy.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you
it's-
forget now that most appliances come integrated
Yeah.
as well, don't
yeah,
they?
it was
Yeah,
a
like some
whole
people are
different
shocked,
ball
aren't
game.
they? When
Yeah,
you say like it comes with integrated fridge freezer, like induction hob, dishwasher. I mean, sometimes dishwasher is not a given, but people kind of look at you some, don't they, and say, "Oh, like we don't have to bring our own
No.
freestanding."
I remember
Not
even
anymore.
like selling houses at resale that were like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years old. People were like, oh, are they leaving the carpets? You think, yeah,
Or are they
leaving
going to
the
roll them
carpet.
up on their shoulder?
Take them
Let's
to another
go.
house where those carpets don't
Yeah.
fit.
I know,
Yeah.
but people did
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that, and curtains and things. But
Yeah.
I mean, now it's just as easy to leave it if you know.
Well, windows, like now,
They don't-
if you think of like back house, if you are moving from a house that's 30 years old to a back house,
Yeah.
there's no way your blinds or curtains are going to be
No.
the same as those lovely big windows you're going to get now.
No, not at all. You definitely have to have bespoke made ones for a lot of them, I think. But like you said, it's a nice feature.
Yeah, it
and it
is.
stands out. So in 5-10 years' time, when that site's obviously done, lived in, people will drive around it a bit like a red row and still know in 10 years' time,
Yeah.
oh, that's a backhouse development.
That's it,
without the
yeah.
branding even needing to
Yeah,
be there.
yeah, which is nice, isn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
I think, like you've said, if people can recognise the brand and recognise it looks lovely, then they're
Yeah.
more likely to buy one or stay
Yes.
within the same
Yeah.
development if
Or
they're
they buy
upsizing
again.
or downsizing, which
Yeah.
makes a massive difference. What about gardens? What's kind of the given at the moment? Like, what are they doing or not doing? Is it extra still to have it turfed?
All the ones we're working with give it included, don't they?
Apart
they bring
from
for the season.
yeah, there's a couple, but
similar.
it'll depend really on.
Does it depend on house type, price?
No, just more development or developer.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Most will include it now, but it is something of an incentive.
Okay.
A lot
Yeah.
of the time.
It was always an extra, to be fair, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like even
It was an
fencing
extra for
was
us.
an extra
Yes.
at
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
one point.
Yeah.
A lot of them just used to
Things
put post and rail up.
even when we bought ours, we've been in ours nearly 5 years, so we had to pay extra for turf
Yeah.
and for an outside tap.
Yeah.
Whereas I know now a lot of those things
Yes.
are included,
Yeah.
or
Included.
you're incentivized
An
to
outside
reserve
tap
to get them or
definitely
whatever.
comes included now, isn't it?
A
But
lot
I
of the
do
time.
remember that being on the extras because
Yeah.
sometimes people wouldn't pick it, and I'd be like, "No, you need just have it
Yeah.
now. Trust me, because it would be a lot easier." And outside sockets as well. People forget about them,
Yeah.
but it's like if you've got an electric lawnmower, you don't really want to be going through your window
No,
or wherever your
extension
socket
leads and all
is.
sorts. Yeah, and I think the other thing for us, and I don't know if this is still a thing, was a door from the garden into
Yeah.
the garage.
Yeah. Internal doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I think-
kind of a given now,
I
but
kind
they
of-
wasn't.
No, I can understand why they don't do it because arguably it isn't necessary. There's a front door to your garage, so like why do you
Yeah.
need another door? But we really wish we had one.
Yeah,
It's
they
where
are
you
handy.
stop, really.
Yeah,
you
because you could go on and on and on and on,
yeah,
couldn't you?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they are not bespoke builders. They are
They've got a
volume.
standard, yeah.
Even our smaller ones are volume, and all of that, cost implication people don't realise because if you have that back door, you've got to have a path. So
Yes.
it leads on
Extra
to other.
slabs.
Yeah,
and that's the same with
other
the
cost.
bifolds as well.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
normally have them as an extra, so you'd pay, I can't even remember what it was now, but about £800 to £1,000 to upgrade. 9 times out of 10 somebody would want it, but then if they were buying a house that had had a completely different lintel already put
Yeah.
in, they can't have
Oh,
it
fine.
because the developer wouldn't take it back
Yeah.
out.
No.
So then they're like disappointed before again you've even started. So it's either you have bifolds throughout or you don't,
Yeah.
because it's not very
Yeah,
nice.
and the
obviously.
structure has to obviously
Yeah.
withhold them. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, fine.
So
And anyone, last question, who's looking to like buy a new build at the moment, what's your 3 top tips?
Speak to a mortgage advisor. No, generally though, just to find out, obviously because of everything that's going on with the rates, if you could afford a 3-bed a year ago, just double check you can still afford that now, because it might have gone up a little bit and you don't want to stretch yourself too much.
And don't assume that all new homes are the same and that they all have small overlooked gardens.
Yeah, which definitely
because
isn't
they
true.
don't. We at Richard James, we pride ourselves on dealing with a lot of individual developers that have some really nice products out there, and some have huge gardens.
Yeah.
So to look at all of it really.
Yeah.
Not just look at a couple and discount.
Yeah,
Have a good look.
definitely.
And the third one, probably just bear in mind that the pro is that you are end of chain. So obviously if you buy resale, you are then relying on that next person to end on the next person. So it is quick, but also bear in mind your property is man-made. So there are going to be certain delays and not necessarily be always disappointed. So just build into when you're given a completion date. Don't get your heart set on that day.
Yeah, manage
because
your own expectations. Yeah.
And equally they want to give you a really quality top end finished house. So if we rush it to get your date because you've booked a removal man for that day, and you've got to wait 2 weeks, you're going to be in that house for maybe 5 years. So just give it a bit more
Yeah.
time, let the processes happen, let the quality checks happen, and then you'll be given a beautiful home rather than walking through the door and noticing things.
Yeah, and
like the time you
snagging
say
for 6
Yeah.
days at a time.
And
yeah.
then, you say sometimes, oh, you don't mind, you just really want to get in, but actually you do mind, because then that first, get the key, walk in, and something might not be just
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's
we can
definitely
manage
more
that.
disappointing than waiting a
Yeah.
few extra weeks or
So I
days.
think, just, manage expectations a bit, and it isn't a factory built home.
Yeah.
And that's something that's changed over the years, the snagging. It's got less with the companies that we
Yeah.
are dealing with.
We used to
Definitely.
have pages
Yeah.
and
Did you?
pages.
Yeah. That has definitely changed. So quality-wise,
Yeah, I
has
think
changed.
back house, we had the other day, we had 2 completions. I think there was 5 items on one. I think it was 8, or it was under 10 on both.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't
and
it?
I just think I've never had that
Little
before.
And the thing
touch-ups.
is, the little touch-ups you can't really avoid.
No.
Even if you walk out a house and don't touch anything, if the
Yeah.
door opens and the wind blows it, the chances are there's
gonna
going to
hit
be
the wall.
something you're going to have to touch
Yeah,
up. So
or
it's not
general
even...
shrinkage as well. Obviously we change seasons, so
Yeah.
it'll be frosty, then it'll rain, then
Yeah.
it'll all of a sudden we'll have 30-degree heat. So obviously your house is contracting with that. And also when you move furniture in, you always bang a wall,
Yeah.
you always hit the stairs. So
If you have
use
kids,
it as your
walls are
advantage.
going to... Yeah.
We always say, don't we, with the decorative stuff, it is developer led, obviously. You can't take the mick too much, but equally, put the stickers on the walls of marks that you've made yourself, moving your beds in, your sofas
Yeah.
in, and the developer will normally 9 times out of 10 have
Just
to
come and
send
do it.
someone in anyway.
Yeah.
So they'll just touch it up. So then again, you've moved all your stuff in and still got an immaculate looking
Yeah.
property.
Yeah, that makes a massive difference, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
And we still love it.
Good. The glamorous part.
Yeah, the glamorous part.
Thanks.